I was looking at it more from how am I going to create value to eventually sell it. And then that process allowed me to make the show cheaper for them. They started to order more, they started airing more, it started to perform more, then they ordered way more. Now I just grew it up and sold it for $190 million.
For the people that don't know, when you're selling into linear TV,
yeah,
typically they have their own sales team. I mean, same
Correct.
thing as local radio, the same, like,
Correct.
you name the media property, there's a sales team responsible for selling into it.
That's right.
You changed that model.
But,
Where did you,
but check it out, I didn't necessarily change it. It was my ask. They didn't think anything of it.
They said, go ahead.
Right? It was
like,
before,
you're just an additional
yeah,
salesperson.
That's it. But and then
Like,
in their
good luck.
mind, it was like, well, what could he possibly do? And so this was before Skinny Girl,
Yeah.
like the Skinny Girl vodka and the Jersey Shore merch.
Yeah.
It was these sort of things that basically stopped that, where the network was like, okay, no longer is someone going to be able to use our platform to sell products. Now,
because was there conflicting interests? Like if they had a different sponsor in the
100%,
same
100%.
like
But the difference, but keep in mind how much more forward thinking I was, is I wanted the media rights. I could sell the media. And so I did deals with Microsoft and Chevy and Carl's Jr. and I just did deal after deal after deal, like Walmart, and I basically used their media as a platform to do massive multi-platform brand partnership deals that were social media, viral content, integrated into the show, appearances. I would do it all for each one of these brands and integrate them into my foundation and build a skate park with their money. Like, I had this incredible ecosystem that I was able to build that no one will ever build again, because they just would never allow talent to have that much control. And it became incredibly frustrating for them, to where we eventually would partner on deals and let them, I would create content for some of their bigger advertisers, versus like where I would just be like, no, I would just say no to every one of their guys and be like, unless I'm doing an entire multi-platform deal. And again, positioning yourself to get lucky. You're being smart, and you're continually being creative on how to think bigger.
Yes.
Right? You're just constantly thinking bigger, right? And even as I, began to look at, the long-term ability to build and sell content integrations in media is waning. And this show is difficult to do, right? It takes, to shoot 10 episodes of Fantasy Factory, it takes 6 months. And I would just be, it's just this ongoing process of shooting, 5-6 days a week, like constantly shooting and pickups and traveling and all this stuff. And at the time, I had sold them both Ridiculousness and Fantasy Factory at the same time, because before they offered me the big money for Fantasy Factory, I thought to myself, man, I'd rather do a show that I could shoot in a studio, not in my house, that I could do much easier. And I had read an article with Vinny DeBona, the creator of America's Funniest Home Videos and the $500 million syndication business that was America's Funniest Home Videos. And I took an episode of America's Funniest Home Videos, took out all the unfunny clips and just the fast funny ones, and then used my Xbox and would rewind and almost how I do Ridiculous to this day. I just did it with an Xbox, and they bought that to series at the same time, only I decided I got a Fantasy Factory is so much more monetary opportunity for me, because I get the episodic fee and all that integration potential. So I did that first before I started shooting Ridiculousness, and I got paid way less to shoot that because it was like a studio show at the time. And but as I transitioned, man, it's the reality of shooting Fantasy Factory. There was no longevity in it. You're talking about, I'm flipping cars and getting attacked by sharks and jockeying horses and, doing all these crazy stunts, you know what I mean? Like an incredible highlight reel for myself, but not sustainable long term. And then I began to evolve and optimize Ridiculousness as it relates to shooting the show itself, as it continued to build its sort of what would eventually be this sort of annuity for the network. Right? Because it's almost like what happened was linear cable kind of shifted as like, you know, this sort of streaming world came alive, and it almost became like linear cable almost came stuck in time, where whatever was working, the network became connected to the network and stayed working.
Yes.
And in my case, the beauty of the concept is that it's kind of a hybrid between streaming and viral content, because it's like you can sit there and just watch it for like 3 hours straight and without even trying type of thing. So it has this baseline value. Then it was like, okay, well, how can I make more out of this and optimize this as an opportunity? And that's when I looked at it more from the business perspective, from instead of the talent perspective. And then I built a production company that I built and sold with the show, right? And so,
and that production company was $190 million. Is that
right.
correct?
And so,
that you sold it for?
Yeah. And think about this. Here's the beauty of it. Once I started producing the show, I understood the unit economics of the show. I understood where all the margin was in the entire thing. And now I've started negotiating with the network on the economics that they needed based off of sort of the evolving ad dollars in the space. Mm-hmm. So we renegotiated on the price of the show if they would pick up a bigger order, and then I had built it to sell the entire time, and so that negotiation was, I was looking at it more from how am I going to create value to eventually sell it, and then that process allowed me to make the show cheaper for them. They started to order more, they started airing more, it started to perform more, then they ordered way more. Now I just grew it up and sold it for 190 million. And even when I built and sold it for 190 million, I was still, the goal was to sell it for 50. You know, wow. And it's just now kind of seeing the whole business more multidimensionally. Mm-hmm. That's one aspect, I think, that, you know, whether you're a restaurant owner, whatever you are creating and operating in life, it is multidimensional, man. And it's like, it is a living thing that there's more opportunity and ways to look at it than straightforward. You have to constantly be looking at that everything from all different types of angles, and that sort of creative lens on looking at everything holistically, including life, you know. And the way that you design your life, how it integrates into your business, allowed me to continue to see opportunity to create more and more value before finally capturing that value at a scale that I could have never even imagined when I set out to do it in 2016.